chin for his first NFL touchdown.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Spent the first hour focused in on new women's basketball coach Nikki Collin, former GM, again with the Atlanta Dream, former player, also Michelle Vopel. Mack Rhodes coming up next. And how about this as a segue to start the 4 o'clock hour? One of 32 of these jobs in the world, head football coach of an NFL team, and our good friend Matt Rhule of the Carolina Panthers. How you doing, man?
I'm great. Great to talk to you.
How much difference was there this year with you in preparing for the draft compared to last year at this time?
Well, I mean, it's night and day. Last year, really doing it from my house. To be able to be in draft meetings, to be able to be around guys, hear their opinion, watch tape together, get into the draft room, make decisions, talk to each other together. I thought it was just way, way better.
Well, you did it from your house last year, and clearly the Rhule family took that as training to get ready for this year's draft, because I know Julie, essentially made the Chuba Hubbard pick, right?
It's funny. She definitely had some opinions on that. She remembers him. She remembers him from his time in Stillwater, and wanted us to draft him. And we were excited. He was someone we were going to probably draft earlier, but we traded back and still got him. And having seen him firsthand, I know that he can really help us.
Coach, where is the evaluation process, the draft process amongst your favorite things about being an NFL head coach? I mean, you and your staff's talent evaluation was second to none, but to actually be able to choose these guys, where does that kind of rank on your enjoyment level?
I really enjoy it. I really enjoy, watching tape, getting to know guys. It's a lot of these guys we knew from college. A lot of these guys we remember from recruiting. So having a chance to get to draft day and then getting them undrafted as well, it's something that I personally really like.
Matt, you and I shared a text the other day. Sam Houston State is in the semifinals, as you know, and they have Eliezer Anderson, Prince Pines, among Elijah Hall. When you see players like that, those are guys that you know, and to see them having some success, especially since two of them are starting, what were your thoughts when you heard that?
I was happy for them. I remember when Eliezer left, I tried to get him to stay. I really liked him, and obviously Prince played for us, that last year before he took off, and Elijah left early, but. I think young people, they have to find the right place for them. And those guys, found a home in Sam Houston State, and to see them playing, to see them having success, that certainly makes me feel good. That makes me excited, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for their families, and proud of their efforts.
You guys drafted J.C. Horn with the first pick. I heard Daniel Jeremiah talking about how scouts do like guys who are from the pedigree. Obviously his dad was a longtime NFL player. Do you like that, coming in a guy that they've grown up in a household that they might have a little bit of a step forward in being an NFL player?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's each case it can be a little bit different, but I think. When you've grown up and you're the son of a coach or the son of a player, when you feel like, you've been pushed, you've been, prodded to be a great player, you've been driven. I feel really good about those guys. They know what it means to prepare. They know what it means to do rehab, how important it is to take notes and do things the right way. So, JC's grown up, in the locker room. He's grown up underneath his dad and seeing what his dad did to be great. So, it only gives him an advantage.
Coach, did you have a lot of angry Cowboys fans in your mentions after that pick? Because you almost single-handedly disrupted what everybody was hoping for with the Cowboys pick by selecting J.C. Horn.
I really can't check my mentions.
It's true.
I just follow you guys, and that's about it, man. I try to just stay focused on what we're doing and not worry about anything else.
No, that's smart. It was just funny to see that reaction when his name came off the board and then Surtain right after that. One of the players that you guys selected, Brady Christensen, the big tackle out of BYU. Obviously, Jeff Grimes was his offensive coordinator, is now at Baylor. His O-line coach was Eric Mateos, now at Baylor. What did you like about Brady Christensen and bringing him to Carolina?
Well, I really liked his versatility on tape. Really liked the way that he trained and worked, and had a great pro day. And then I reached out to Joey McGuire and said, hey, you ask those guys what he's like, and they raved about him. Thought he'd play for 10 years in the league, and Sean Bell said the same thing. So Coach Grimes, Coach Mateos, I respect those guys a great deal. They're great football coaches. What they did at BYU last year was fantastic. And, them saying great things about him will only help.
How much did the lack of knowing all the medicals affect this year's draft or getting prepared for it?
Well, not having the combine was hard. They took the top 150 there. And so we got some medical information from that. But it was certainly, there was no rechecks. It was certainly an incomplete picture. And, I'm a person who believes in, being risk averse when it comes to previous injuries. But, we weren't able to get all that information. So you had to go off of what the information you do have and just hope that it works out for the best.
Coach, comparing drafting to recruiting now that you've got 2 years of drafting under your belt, I know that you had said one time you weren't one of these guys who, I don't want to say you certainly put it into recruiting, but you didn't do the bells and whistles recruiting. You were pretty much a straightforward guy. Is draft and free agency a little bit lower pressure, at least in that regard, because you don't have to constantly call people and chase them down?
Yeah, it's just a whole different thing. I mean, the crux of both is evaluation, right? And so, you can't listen to the outside noise of, hey, this is a 5-star recruit, or hey, this is the best guy in the draft. You have to evaluate through your process. Here we do it through our scouts and personnel staff, then to the coaches, and you have to, trust your eyes. The only difference here is, that, we have a chance to go pick them. We'll either be a free agency, we can try to pay them, or we can, draft them. At the college level, recruiting them, trying to convince them to come, and them still have the ability to decommit. There's a little bit more uncertainty, but I enjoyed recruiting. I enjoyed the relationships of it. I just I always wanted to be known as someone who was real, who was about substance, not flash. I'm not perfect in that regard, but that was always my goal, and so I tried to carry that over into recruiting.
Matt, what's the difference between trying to coach a 22 or 23-year-old or maybe even 21-year-old out of college and a 35-year-old man who's been in the league for 10 or 12 years?
Well, I think, it just really depends on the individual. But I think when you're coaching, older veteran guys, you have to be willing to listen to them. You have to be willing to talk to them. And really the common goal is, you want them to play well. They want to play well. You want to win. They want to win. And so I think taking the time to explain why, to explain your rationale, I think that goes a long, long way. And then with the rookies, the guys that are coming fresh out, they're coming from different places. Some come from programs that were very demanding. Some come from other types of programs. You have to quickly, get them to understand what it is to be a Carolina Panther, the way that we do things, the way that we work. And make sure that they understand that so that they can have success and not get lost in the shuffle.
You guys made the trade for Sam Darnold before the draft. When you have a young quarterback, and of course you've got Joe Brady there working with him, who I know you have amazing confidence in, but when you had that off the table, given that this was a quarterback-heavy draft, did that make it everybody was a little more clear-headed when you're able to get there at 8 and start your draft?
Yeah, we really like some of the quarterbacks in the draft, and we think that they're going to be great players. But we brought Sam here because we believe that he can do it. We believe that at 23 years old, his best is ahead of him. And I think the ability to not only have a quarterback we believe in, but also add someone like J.C. Horn, it felt like it was 2 for 1 as opposed to just drafting a quarterback. So we feel like we made our defense better and our team better, and we're excited to see what Sam can do moving forward.
Matt, you told me on many occasions through the first, second year, and then, of course, the third year that was amazing and how close it was to you guys winning the Big 12 and playing perhaps in the playoff. But you have this thing that you've said to me before, we'll win when we're ready to win, or we'll win when we get – kind of explain that to me. How do you know? Because there was a couple of games at the end of last year, one that you lost, one that you won, and I know the record wasn't what you wanted, but what do you mean you'll win when you're ready to win?
Well, I just believe that, winning, I mean, obviously, if you're just way more talented than their team, then so be it. But true winning comes from when, people are willing to do things right, when they're willing to play hard, even when they're banged up and hurt, when they're willing to sacrifice, when they're willing to prepare. And so a lot of times you're not doing those things and you're not winning and you're wondering why. And I think when you commit to doing the right things long enough, eventually winning is the byproduct of just being excellent in all those areas. And that's not just the players, that's coaches, players, everybody. And so, for us last year, I thought we had a team that worked hard, but, we'd have penalties, we'd have issues, we'd have problems. And so, we won some games, but we'll win at a high level, when we're ready to, when our work ethic is unparalleled, when our commitment to detail is elite, when we practice and prepare at such a high level and get to the game and maintain focus throughout the game and don't lose it or get distracted. And so some of that comes with age, some of that comes with better coaching, some of that comes with new players. We weren't that team all the time last year. I was proud of our team. The second to last game, we went to Washington in a game where they had to win to go to the playoffs, and we played like a big-time team that game. But we're in the process right now of just trying to grow our team. Not just bring in new players, but grow the team, grow the staff, grow the culture, grow the mindset where we understand that winning is a byproduct of the things that we do day in and day out.
This is a selfish question because I'm a WFT fan, Coach, but how good is Chase Young and that young Washington defense?
Well, he's fantastic. He's not only a physical freak in terms of his athletic ability, but he plays the game really hard, plays it the right way. So, my good friend Marty Herney is up there as, executive vice president of personnel, working with Ron Rivera, and I know that they'll build a great team.
You, when I was going through highlights to try to build the Open today, Jeremy Chin kept popping up, and I wanted to ask you about him because he was a rookie last year, and sometimes you just hit on a guy who gets and fits what you guys are doing. He seems to me to be a Phil Snow type of player. Am I right on that one?
Yeah, I mean, he's made up of all the right things. He's got the right mindset, the right character. He's unbelievably smart. He's someone that early on last year, Evan Cooper just kept saying to me, hey, this is a guy that's perfect for us. And his versatility, his talent, they shine through when he got here. So he's one of those guys. I mean, he's in that young group of players on defense that we're excited to watch grow.
You have a bunch of players who played at Baylor and Temple. Now, it's one thing to have them because you know them and they know what to expect, but it's also that they have to help you win at the professional level. How important is it that you bring in the right mix of them that's not only comfortable with what you do, you're comfortable with what they do, but they can help you win?
Yeah, I only want people here who can help me win. Last year was a unique year. No pro days, no tryouts. So there was a unique set of circumstances. But, I've brought in those players, and some of those players are here. I've also brought in some former players and had to let them go and release them. And I can tell you that's not fun. So the last thing I ever want to do is bring in a guy that played for me before that doesn't deserve to be here, because you have to invariably let them go. And it's hard to do. That's the hardest part of this job is releasing players. So the guys that have a relationship with me from previously, they know me, they know what to expect. That's an advantage. But now there's 20 other guys that played for me last year that have played for me and know what to expect. And so year two, I expect all of our players to have a much better understanding of the process, of the offense, of the defense, of what's expected of them, and for each player to take a step moving in the right direction.
Matt, does a loss affect you more at any level, at the pro level rather than the college level, or does it affect you the same?
Well, I mean, a loss affects you the same. I just think a loss is way more devastating in college because, one loss takes you out of a lot of things, right? Whereas in the pro game, there's only been one undefeated team. So, I try to have the same approach both places. Whether you win or lose, to come in the next day, evaluate the film, see the things you did right, see the things you did wrong, and get started on the next week and try to improve. So you have to have competitive stamina, and you have to have a calm presence to get through 16 and now 17 regular season games. I mean, if you're emotional and high and low, you're not going to make it through. And so I think last year, especially with COVID going on, we had to have tremendous discipline to make sure we came in every day and had the same approach, no matter what the record was.
Are Thomas Fletcher jerseys available on the Panthers Pro Shop yet? Because that was a fantastic draft phone call you two had, Coach, that went viral from this past weekend.
Yeah, that was. I've had a lot of people ask me about that. We had him at the Senior Bowl, great kid. Just kind of joking around with him on the call, and obviously it caught him by surprise, and now it's a big moment. But happy for him. He's a great kid from my week with him, and he'll be fun to have here as he tries to make the team. When
a season's over, then you get ready for the off season to go to the Senior Bowl, or as there was, whatever it was, the combine. Then there's the draft. Then there's the rookie mini camps, or whatever you can do these days. When is that time compared to when recruiting ends in football at the college level where you can get away between National Signing Day and or spring drills or afterwards? Do you have that bubble as a pro coach?
Yeah, there's a bubble there. I think the big time for us is probably the same as college coaches. Late June into early July, having a chance to get away. The players are all gone at this level; they're not in summer school. It's a chance to really recharge and get ready for a long NFL season.
Matt Rhule with us, former Baylor head coach, Carolina Panthers head coach. What did you do when you watched at times with Baylor last year with Coach Aranda in his first year? Was that sometimes tough to watch, knowing what he had to deal with, but also the fact that they struggled?
Yeah, I think I watched pretty much every game. At least certainly every game that I could, and my wife watched. I watched. I think first of all, Coach Aranda is going to do a fantastic job, and he already is. I think seeing the lineups change last year, dealing with the different things in COVID, guys being out 1 week, and right before the game they can be there. I don't know how anyone can evaluate any team in college football based upon the things that happened last year. But I know for me, year one was hard. Year two, we started to establish who and what we were. Year one, Coach Aranda was there. Year two, now he's really beginning to establish probably what they believe in, and they've got hopefully a great nucleus back. I watched the spring game the other day with my son Bryant. Really excited to see them get out there next season.
How much do you think it helps with the fact that you, Bohannon, and Zeno, we know Charlie's moved on. How much did you see in those two guys eventually taking over the program if you had stayed here or not?
Yeah, I always was a huge Gary fan and believed that he could do a lot of great things, and had Zeno for just that one season, but obviously saw him do some great things in the Big 12 championship game. So I always anticipated those guys being really good quarterbacks, and looking forward to seeing them play this fall.
All right, man. We appreciate your time. Enjoy what you've done. Appreciate you always, the access you give us. There's only one of 32 jobs in the world, and you have one of those. Is that ever something you think about?
You know what? Not really. I'm excited and proud to be here. But I'm like just like I was at Baylor. Man, I wake up every day running scared, trying to make sure that we do everything we can each day to go win the Super Bowl.
Good luck with it. We'll see you soon. I tell you what I'm going to do now. I think I'm going to come to Charlotte one day and spend a couple of days and do the show from there. If that's something you, unless you have the security guys waiting for me.
We would love to have you here. Come on.
You would not. You would not. You would absolutely not. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate your time. Matt Rhule, Carolina Panthers head coach, former Baylor head coach, with us following the NFL draft over the weekend. When we come back,